Hello everybody, welcome to my applied assignment for the course SPE 223 at Arizona State University. My name is Brooke McCoy. Let's go ahead and dive right on into the topic. So my table of contents, some of my pre-work. Inclusion in communities is important for the disabled to have at their fingertips, especially those in school. And this is really important to me because I work in a school and I work with special ed students very closely, and so it's important that these students are included in everything that the general ed students are included in. Sometimes they need a little bit more equity and help to feel completely included, but that should be the job of us educators and paraeducators to make sure that all students are treated and feel equal. Some new learning that I found over this topic is to learn about individuals with a disability, families of those with a disability, and the communities, so schools, childcare, workplaces, things like that. A question that we can keep in mind as we go through this presentation could be, how does inclusion apply to your local schools and communities? So let's keep that in mind as we kind of go along this presentation and we learn a little bit more about inclusion in our communities. Some more pre-work, I'm going to focus on the communities, local schools with disabled students. I find this intriguing because I have a connection to my local schools and know the ins and outs of their special ed classes and teachers. I do work at my local junior high. I'm a paraeducator for 7th and 8th graders in the RSP level of special ed. My topic, inclusion in schools and communities for the disabled. I really like these two pictures because the top picture shows inclusion and shows a little bit of universal design and how the teacher or that adult is going out of their way to make sure that this student feels included with the rest of the students in their activity. I did get to interview one of my students, which was quite amazing because it shows that it was with somebody that I had a local connection to, and I knew that they did indeed have a disability. Why? I see a constant work ethic from the student. She's respectful. She's always doing the right thing, and so I felt that this would make my interview process a lot more valid and efficient because she would give me real answers that I needed. Some background knowledge. I already knew the student's disability, so I, could fact check her, verify that she's not just messing around. A little bit of the interview that we got to do, I did not put the whole thing in, but just some clips. What is your disability and how long have you had it? Has it been lifelong or due to a recent accident? I'm so sorry. Hi, Brooke. Thank you for having me. I have ADHD and a vision impairment. I have had this disability for as long as I can remember. My vision is not completely gone, but I cannot see from anything farther than the second row of the classroom. Next, how does attending a public school affect your disability? It can sometimes be difficult for me. I often find myself losing my mind sitting in class, not being able to shout out, get up, or move. Although this is hard, I try my best to cope with it, but I really struggle with this. I do not like my quiet classes because of this. And this is really common. A lot of my students don't like their quiet classes. They often say their teacher's mean or that, they don't get along with any of the students. And it's not normally because of that. It is typically because the setting does not work well for them and their disability. How do you handle situations in class when you can't quite understand or analyze what your teacher is asking of you? I don't normally have a hard time understanding assignments in class unless I'm having a hard time seeing or being able to focus. It can be really hard in some classes, but most of my teachers go out of their way to check with me and make sure I understood. Going back to, them saying their teachers are mean or if they're not understanding, often when teachers come check in with them and make sure that they're doing okay and do everything that they can to help their student be successful, these often become these students' favorite teachers because they show that they care. How do you work with other students while trying to succeed in class? I don't really like working in group or partner settings. I actually feel really bad and often feel like I'm holding everyone else back. It takes me a lot longer to understand and reflect on the work, so I don't do well working with others. I appreciate her honesty here because a lot of kids will just fake it till they make it. They'll let, one student take the whole group effort. And, with my kids, it's not efficient. What is the biggest challenge you face in school due to your disability? I often find my biggest challenge to be socializing or working in group settings. It really makes my focus and stress so much worse. I stress about being too much or too hyper for others, thus leading to anxiety. What do you most enjoy about school? I really like learning. When my teachers help me and want me to succeed, I actually enjoy learning and being at school. I don't like school for socializing or friends. I really just enjoy learning. And I appreciate her honesty. She enjoys learning. It's not about the social aspect for her. She just wants to go to school, get her work done, and go home. And so it's people like this that really do need, her teacher just to be by her side and support her through. My evidence. I found quite a bit of different pieces of evidence and things like that have helped me throughout this. But I will say that most of this comes from my experience. I can't lie. Yes, all of these did help me find, facts, statistics, and things like that. But after all, it really comes down to the experience that I have working with these special ed students in my class and working with the general ed students as well. A question: how can one small step make a big difference? I challenge a lot of my students to do that. I do work with general ed students and I often ask them, how can you make a small step to help me out so this other student feels included and wanted in your group work? Or, if you do this, then maybe you guys can work together and your group will get an A+. And so I challenge a lot of our community to say the same thing. How can one small step make a big difference? Thank you for coming to my presentation. I really enjoyed doing this. It was super fun doing this, with my school in mind, because I got to do something that has a personal connection to me.